Hello YouTube, this is Team Doom Donuts. I am your CC duelist, and this is my partner.
Annoying Pair 995.
And today's video is just going to be it's going to be a short video, but since the ban list is coming up, we're going to be telling you guys our predictions on what we think should become unbanned, should drop down to 2, or should be dropped down to 1. First off, brain control. I think brain control should come back because not only the bad thing is you have to pay 800 life points, but you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it. It's basically like mind control, but this is a little bit better in my opinion.
Yeah, brain control should come back. I mean, Snatch Steal came back, so why can't brain control?
Yeah, I mean there's not really a difference.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you pay 800 life points for it. Snatch Steal, you don't pay anything.
Right, yeah. But that's just the first card that should come back in my opinion.
Yeah.
Next up, the Crush Card virus. The Crush Card virus should come back in my opinion because, well, they say they have a real good idea that it's going to come back because it's going to be in the new Gold Series edition, Return of the Bling.
And it's getting errated.
So. Yeah, and a lot of people like errata cards because their effects are just like what they are in the anime. And Crush Card was Kaiba's card, for those of you who remember the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And Kaiba was a good duelist in my opinion. I mean, I liked him. I liked his deck. I liked Blue Eyes. And to have Crush Card Virus come back with the effect that it did in the anime, I mean, if I wanted to build a Kaiba deck, this would be the number one card I'd put in there.
Touché. Now, this third card that should come back is Dark Magician of Chaos. I mean, it's been gone for a while now. And there's no need for it to be banned. I mean, I don't think there's any deck that will use it right now. So it should come back to 1, maybe more, but
yeah, I mean, the point of bringing back the Dark Magician of Chaos, I mean, they have the ritual card for it, but this one is the effect card. I mean, just like the errata card, Dark Magician of Chaos was also used in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just put it in there because I like spellcasters. I like pendulum spellcasters. And if this card would come back, this would be another card I could actually use to put in my pendulum magician deck. I mean, and because it has a good effect, I like the detail they put in the card. And it's just one of those simple things that, like what he said, there ain't no real good reason for it to be banned.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything to the meta whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, because those of you who are watching, you know the decks that are tier 0, 1, and 2. And if this would come back, I doubt very seriously it would be in a deck that topped like YCS or anything. I mean, it's just for us steady people that have budget decks. I mean, because we can't really afford all these big decks, and to have a deck for this good of a card to put in it, so that kind of be just icing on the cake. It'd be a real fun deck to play.
Yeah.
So that's why Dark Magician of Chaos needs to come back and be unbanned.
And if this does come back, we'll be ready because we have multiple copies of it. So.
Yeah.
Now, next card is Elemental Hero Stratus. I mean, why did it get banned in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, if Stratos came back, I mean, there's already cards out there in the game for TCG that are actually have the effect of Stratos. I mean, because a lot of cards, if you read the effect of Elemental Hero Stratos, there's pretty much cards out there that have that same exact effect. And Elemental Hero decks, so they came out with the structure deck, and there's already been people that have been bought it and played it, but they were kind of unhappy with the fact that they can't really use Elemental Hero Stratos. So, I mean, if I see no reason for it to get banned. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Elemental Heroes anyway, but I don't know. I mean, I think Stratos could come back just so it could help us Elemental Hero players. Like him, for instance. He likes Elemental Heroes. I don't think they're all that good, but I mean, if Stratos came back, he'd have a really good deck to play. So
I mean, they're good right now because of Shadow Mist, but
Yeah, that's the monster I was thinking of. I
They,
forgot what it was
they
called.
haven't been really doing anything since Stratus got banned.
Yeah, but if they did bring back Stratus, I mean, it would be a really good deck. I mean, it would help people that actually play the Elemental Hero deck that came out
Yeah.
like a few months ago. I mean, this would really help out their deck. I mean, a it's not a real big monster with high attack or anything, or a
Mm-hmm.
really killer effect or anything. I mean, but yeah, I think it should come back. I mean,
I won't really do anything to the meta because of Necros, Burning Abyss.
mm-hmm.
I mean, those decks are broken. What's
Yeah,
so bad about Elemental Heroes that makes Stratos ban worthy? I mean, it should come back to one.
yeah. Just like this next card that we have on our list,
Heavy
Heavy Storm.
Storm.
I hate back row of this format. I mean, because you have cards like Royal Decree or Vanity's
Skill
Emptiness.
Drain.
Exactly. I mean, because since this is such a back row heavy format, and it's been like that for months now.
Oops.
I mean, because I hate the fact that I have to worry so much about my opponent's back row. If
Yeah.
this card came back in Giant Trinade, which is also on our list, there'd be a lot of OTKs, FTKs. I mean, because there's so many decks out there that can wipe out your opponent in one turn, but they're always having to worry about, well, what if they spring like a Magic Cylinder or a Mirror Force,
Yeah.
D-Prison, Phoenix Chain. I mean, I shouldn't have to worry about that every time I'm about to kick your ass and you spraying a trap card on me. So,
And it sucks because you have to use all of your cards just to get over that your opponent's back row.
exactly, because there's only 3 MSTs in this game. You can only have
Yeah.
3 copies of them. And usually they set like 4 back row or 5 back row. You only have so many opportunities to pop their back row, take it off your big plays.
If they set one card and you have an MST, that's fine because you can just go off from there. But if they set like 2 or more,
Mm-hmm.
you're screwed.
That's right.
Basically, depending on what they actually have.
Right, yeah.
So that's that.
And the next card that needs to get unbanned, Monster Reborn. Now, I don't know why Monster Reborn was banned. I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know why a lot of these cards right here got banned.
You only summon one monster.
Exactly.
Soul Charge summons many.
Yeah, why didn't they ban that card? Why'd they ban this card? This card just brings back one monster.
Well, Soul Charge, you have to pay 1,000 life points each. So.
Well, true.
But there's other cards that can summon monsters from the graveyard, no matter what. And Monster Reborn coming back won't do anything.
No, not really.
It'll help out, sure, but it won't do anything else.
That's right.
Next card.
Pot of Greed.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take this one?
Draw 3 cards, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of cards, like spell cards, that let you draw, like, more cards.
Mm-hmm.
Pot of Greed, well, it was an original Yu-Gi-Oh card, but it just lets you draw 2 cards. Now, I see one reason why they did ban this card for decks like Exodia or like Burning Abyss. But,
well, Burning Abyss wasn't really around, but it might help a lot of other decks. But it should like come back to 1.
mm-hmm.
I won't really do anything.
Yeah, like for example, when I'm playing my Baby Raccoon deck, right, and I want to draw my Obelisk the Tormentor card, to actually OTK my opponent. I have Pomponko or Tantan or Nimbabamanga in my hand, or Obedience Schooled, because I open up with Obedience Schooled all the time when I'm playing my Baby Raccoons. And knowing that I ain't got no boss monster in my hand sucks.
Yeah.
So if I would have Pot of Greed in my hand, that would give me a better chance to get to Obelisk to wipe out my opponent. It irritates me.
Obelisk, we can actually target or get over Obelisk. It's not that hard, but it's a 4,000 beater, so it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Next card, Change of Heart. Basically, Snat Steal. That's all it is. It's a Snat Steal or Mind Control. I mean, you can attack with it, but
Yeah, Change Your Heart is good. I mean, it's basically a snatch steal. I mean, its effect says target one monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. I mean, there's cards out there that are like this, but if you take their monster, you can't tribute, you can't attack, you can't do anything. This one is better because you can actually like take off. I mean, do your big plays. Like, say my opponent has a Go-Yo Guardian, and I'm trying to OTK him, right? He summons it or a bigger monster, whatever. I activate Change Your Heart. I take his monster. I synchro summon, overlay, pendulum summon, whatever. Tack, 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 game. I mean, what's the big deal with Change Your Heart? I mean, if you're going to use one card that's basically the same thing, why not bring the other one back? I mean, because that's no good reason for Change Your Heart to be banned.
It's yeah, it's basically a snatch steal, so it doesn't really matter. It should come back anyways.
They should.
Next card, Dragon Ravine. I mean, your Gunities aren't doing anything. Dragon Rulers aren't doing anything. Dragons in particular aren't really doing anything, so bring it back. There's no need for it to be banned anymore. Next card, Cold Wave. Um, like we said earlier, this is a back row heavy format. So this card says until your next turn, you and your opponent cannot play or set any spell or trap cards. So that will kill a lot of decks, like Cliff Forts. You send you so they can't use Vanity's Emptiness. You can't activate Skill Drain, anything else. So might as well bring that back.
Next card that needs to be unbanned. Like we stated a few minutes ago, just like Heavy Storm, Giant Trinity. Giant Trinity needs to come back because this format sucks with back row.
I hate back row.
Hate it.
Screws us over.
Just like I ranted before. If I'm trying to get off a heavy play, right, and you're an ignorant douchebag and set 4 or 5 back row, I basically can't get my play up because I'm afraid I'm gonna tackle the big monster. You're gonna like Phoenix Chain it, Spellbinding Circle, or use Magic Cylinder to redirect that attack right back at my life points. It sucks.
I just don't like back row at all. So
No. Don't like it at all.
I really need my plays to go off. And you having back row screws me over. Screws a lot of other decks over.
Big time.
So you can't really do anything. You just have to basically wait until your opponent activates everything. Then just wait until you get MST, Dust Tornado, something like that.
Yep.
Next card, basically the same thing. Negate all spell, or it's an Imperial Order. Negate all spell card effects on the field. So this will hurt Cliff Forts. Basically, Cliff Forts. I mean, you pay 700 life points each standby phase, so it doesn't really matter. It should come back to 1, possibly 2. So, yeah. Next card, Pot of Avarice. This will help a lot of smaller decks out. It'll help Descendus in a way. If your opponent destroys their cards anyways. It'll help Babe Raccoons, Battery Man, a lot of other cards that XYZ summon. I mean, what? Bring it back. That's all I gotta say.
Bring it back to at least like one or 2.
Just 1. Harpy Shadow Duster. If the OCG has it, give it to us. It's basically a heavy storm. Destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls. It's like a Regeki but for spells, basically. Premature Burial.
Premature Burial is really good. I want this card to come back so I can use it in my Lightsworn deck. I mean, because we have Foolish Burial. I mean, if you've seen some of my later videos, like from months ago, I did a Lightsworn replay. I did a Lightsworn deck profile, and I played 2 Wolf in my Lightsworn deck. Wolf is good. I mean, I use Foolish Burial, put it in the graveyard, I mean, it does special summon from the graveyard,
Hmm.
but I mean, I could use that on other cards too in my Lightsworn deck, because this card brings it back from the grave, just like Monster Reborn did, like we did a little bit ago. The only difference between Monster Reborn and this
You have
is
to
that,
pay 800 life
yeah,
points.
I pay 800 life points. I mean, I want this for back for my Baby Raccoon deck. That this would be good in a lot of decks that we play.
Yeah.
I mean, what's so bad about paying 800 life points? I mean, if you're a good duelist, that 800
You'll figure out where and when to
exactly.
use it.
Yeah.
Next card, Gateway of the Six. Six Samurais aren't doing anything. I mean, I think they topped ARG, I think, but it's not really doing anything now. So bring it back to one, possibly, so they can actually have a fighting chance. Next cards are Baby Dragon Rulers. Bring them back to one.
At least one. Yeah, at least one.
Yeah, at least one. I mean, I want to play Dragon Rulers again.
Yeah, but Dragon Rulers aren't really doing anything. I mean, sure,
They're
there's
in Lightsworns.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, their older adult versions. They're in some decks like Titles. He's in Mermails.
Yeah.
And
Blaster's in Inferno.
mhm.
Tempest is in Spiritual Beast, and Redox maybe Gear Gives or Machine of
Yeah.
Gadgets, whatever. Just bring them back to one. I mean,
Yeah.
Super Rejuvenation to one also. They could help out the Dragon Rulers. And I'll just get to this now. Bring these back to two. All the bigger Dragon Rulers. Just bring them back to two. So we can actually make a deck out of everything. Now,
And this next card.
Rescue Rabbit.
Oh my god. This next card. Rescue Rabbit. When I first started playing the Yu-Gi-Oh, I was big on
You were
dinosaurs.
playing competitively. This was the very first deck you used.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I loved dinosaur decks. I remember watching the original Yu-Gi-Oh back in 2000 whenever it came out, around that time, and watching Rex Raptor play his dinosaur deck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm huge on dinosaurs, and whenever I was playing, Rescue Rabbit was at 2, I think. Was it at 2?
It was at 2.
And now they took it away from me. I mean, Dino Rabbit ain't really competitive no more. If they could bring this back to 2 or 3, I mean, we discussed it weeks ago. If this came back to 2 or 3, this would be a deck that we would love to play. Because, like I just stated, Dino Rabbit with Rabbit at 1, it ain't really worth playing. But if you could bring this back to 2 or 3, it'd be a lot better.
It'll also help with normal pendulum decks. It'll be really good in those decks. I mean, it should come back to 2 or 3. It doesn't need to be at 1 anymore. It's been at 1 for like 2, 3 formats.
Too freaking long, if you ask me.
Yeah, it should come back.
Next card. I put these next 3 in here. Bottomless Trap Hole. You face a lot of decks nowadays with really strong boss monsters.
So you need to get them off the field immediately.
That's right. I mean, because if you're no offense, but there's a lot of stinky duelists out there, and if you're going to be battling a real strong duelist, let's just say like Galactic God or MCO 40, Cyber Knight, or Asian Eyes, if you're going to be battling duelists at their caliber, knowing that they have monsters that could kick your deck's butt, you need to have at least 2 or 3 really good monsters like Bottomless Trap Hole to stop their plays.
It should be at 2 because if you were facing against Cliff Orts and they pendulum summon and you have this on the field, just bottomless everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this also goes for this next card. I'll just say put Torrential up here. Or at least try to anyways. But Torrential Tribute needs to be at 2 also. So let's just get that out of the way for right now. Next card.
Compulse. Compulse is good in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people that I know personally don't really care much for this card, but I do. I mean, because if you're now now compulse is good because if you have like a real high caliber duelist that you're dueling against, right? And you have monsters and you're going at it, right? Well, if they drop something like a battle fader, trag, or gores, you can compulse that monster back into their hand. And it's also good. He needs to come back to 2 or 3 also because like if they have like an MST, right? Well, you set a bluff, you set a compulse, they MST your bluff, they MST that compulse, right? Well, they're not thinking that you have about 2 more or 1 more set down, right? And then they go to attack, you spring that other compulse out on them, and then
Yeah,
they would have to like I don't know like main phase 2, and then your turn you get your attack off and possibly win the duel.
yeah. If your opponent MSTs it, that that was probably your only out that you had. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything else, and they'll win the. They'll end up winning the duel, so you can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
If this went to 2 plus bottomless plus torrential, or if they went to 2 or higher, it would be a lot better.
Right.
Now, Book of Moon,
Book of Moon is good because you got a lot of effect monsters out there,
yeah,
right? And if you're dueling them and they try to spring their effect on you, you can MST their monster. And because it was Book of Moon, their effect does not go off.
yes, and it's also good for the Necros deck if they try to get the Gin lock off. Uh, you play multiple Book of Moons, so you just activate it. They can't do anything about it.
Right.
And if you Book of Moon a Dante or Clifford monster or whatever, they can't do anything about it.
Right.
So, Burial for Different Dimension. Target up to 3 banished monsters, return them to the graveyard. This would be good in Lightsworn Rulers. This would be good in Chaos Dragons. This would be good in the new deck Infernoids. It just needs to come back to possibly 2 so it can help Infernoids out a little bit.
It'd be basically good in any deck because there's a lot of decks out there that count
Banish,
on
yeah.
monsters in their graveyard
Yeah.
to get off their plays. And if you have this and you banish their monsters, they won't get their plays off.
Hmm? Geomantic Fissure. And just say Microcosmos also needs to possibly go to 2. If they go to 2, it'll help Spiritual Beasts out a lot because all they do is banish stuff. So if you have 2, it'll help the deck out. So it doesn't get MST'd and you have no outs to any decks. So 2 will work. Next card, Atlantean Dragoons. Since they're getting a new Atlantean card, it'll help Mermaids. It'll help just in plain old Atlantean deck. If it's at 2, it'll be good. And if it's at 2, Mermaids will probably be tier 1 again, or maybe tier 2. I don't know. Next card, Genetic Sally Birdman. Um, I don't know why it got limited to 1, anyways. You don't really see it anymore. So if it's semi-limited, I think it'll be good in any deck.
Yeah, because there's a lot of decks out there that need a low level tuner
Yeah.
monster to get their synchros off.
Mm-hmm. So semi-limited, it'll be good. Next card is Gladiator Beast Bestiary. A lot of people were hoping for this card to go to 2, possibly 3. You don't see Gladiator Beast anymore. If this went to 2, you'd see a lot of Gladiator Beast players come back, and it's been limited for a while now. It should come back to 2. Next is Gear. You don't see Gear anymore, so bring it back to 2, possibly 3.
Yeah, I mean, I played a Girgia Karakuri deck. Me and him both did. And with gear just at one, it, I mean, it's good at one, but buffing it up to like two or three
Yeah.
would make a gear deck way better because what it does is you flip it over and you're
Supposed some 2 Gargano
yeah,
monsters.
and they become level 4 monsters because of this effect.
That'll help your plays off a lot more if you have
Mm-hmm.
it at 2.
That's right.
Now, we talked about the Dragon Rulers already. Now let's go to Thunder King Ryo. If this goes to 2, possibly 3, but I doubt Konami will do that. If it goes to 2, Yosenju's will be really good. Really good. Any stun deck will be good if this is at 2 because the other player can add cards from their deck to the hand. So a lot of decks now basically add cards, and you don't want them to. So Thunder King Ryo is the way to go. We talked about Tarantula already. Windup Magician needs to go to 2, possibly.
Yeah, 2 possibly or 3. I mean,
No, 3 is a little bit much because of the wind-up loop and all that.
well, yeah, kind of. But if it went to 2, wind up deck would be a lot better because like a year ago, maybe like a year and a half ago, I was wanting to play wind ups, and the decks just ain't really that good with that magician. With that magician at 2, if
Yeah.
magician went to 2, it'd be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Darkhold to 3. Um, you don't see Darkhold anymore unless you're facing. Usually, you see it in the side deck
Right.
now.
I mean, because we finally get Dark Hole at 2, and now we have Regeki. Regeki's basically another Dark Hole.
Yeah.
Only Regeki destroys
Destroy your
monsters
opponent's
on your
monster.
opponent's side of the field. Dark Hole does it at on both your sides of the field.
Yeah.
Now that may sound a little broken, making Dark Hole a 3, but
You don't. You hardly see it anymore. Usually, you see it in the side deck,
right, yeah,
unless you're playing against an anti-meta or something.
right. Next card.
Next card, Chain Strike to 3. I put this in there because I play burn decks. Yeah, I know it's a scumbag deck, but still, it's really fun just to see your opponent rage quit and all that.
And he knows all about that. I'm a very salty duelist.
Yeah,
I got up and left one day because he summoned Obelisk and I couldn't get over it.
that wasn't because of Chain Strike.
No.
Chain Strike to 3. Why not? You don't really see anything chain burn related, anyways. Heretic Seal of Convocation. This will be good. Bring back Heretic Rulers. Bring back any dragon base deck that plays Heretics. Bring it to 3. Doesn't really see any play. So 3 more cards to go. Wind up Carriers and Mighty. I'll let you talk about this.
Wind up carriers Zimadi needs to come back because it would be a really big help for wind up decks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I can remember back when this card was actually legal.
Isn't that why you wanted to? You want Wind Up Magician to go?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for a fact that windups can be like tier. This may sound stupid, but it could be like a tier 3 or 2 deck if this card comes back. I mean, because windups were awesome with this card in it, and that's exactly why they took it away.
Yeah.
But now that you don't see any windup decks anymore, if they bring this back, I mean, because there's a lot of windup players out there, and if they can bring this back, windups could make a comeback because they're not a deck to be fooling around with. I mean, people look at it and spit on it because they think it's stupid. But if they could have just a little bit of help, they could come back.
I mean, even if this does come back, windups will. You won't be seeing windups hardly at all because of the main 3 decks: Clifford, Burning Abyss, and Necros. You probably see them at the top tables, but that's basically it. Next is Shockmaster. I mean, this card will be good and Yosendus, windups again. It's just a very good card. Okay, now the last card I want to talk about is legendary Six Samurai Shein. I mean, you don't see Six Samurais anymore. Like I said, uh, I mean, if it goes to 2, you might see Six Samurais more. Like if Gateway of the Six goes to 1, this goes to 2, you'll see a lot of Six Samurais. I mean, they got 3 Rhoda now. They got Sheen Smoke Signal. They got everything, but they need another Shin in their extra deck. And that's basically our ban list talk that we wanted to do. If you guys have any thoughts, just comment down below. Anything you want to say?
Uh, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, enjoy. This is Team Doom Donuts, and we're out. See ya.
So,
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like down below. If you want to see more, click that subscribe button. And if you haven't seen the previous video already, click the box in the bottom left hand corner right there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.